There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore.
And we're back. It is hump day. It's Wednesday on the Prepared Mind channel. Welcome everyone, one and all, on the preparedmind.club. Monday through Friday, you can be here live with the preparedmind.club. It's just a premium subscription for a whole $2 a month. Same with subscribestar.com. And then we've got X. I tell you what, folks, we have got a lot to discuss. I'm glad to be back. Sorry about yesterday afternoon. I knew my day was ruined, so I had to get something ready for you guys. A lot going on up here, a lot going on out there. Get your questions down in the comment section. Man, the moderator-in-chief, is in the house, and he's ready to screen the calls, screen the comments, and play kindergarten teacher if necessary. Anyways, folks, I'm going to do my monologue, then we'll follow it with your questions. This is, I just love this. I love the format we have where we get to banter back and forth. Anyways, we also need to get another guest on for our Fridays. Man, who are we going to get? Let's get somebody. If you guys have someone you want to hear out there that does, I don't know, prepping, there's a good one. A political commentary, there's another one. Even economic stuff, there's some other stuff. So if you've got some suggestions, what we'll do is we'll take those, we'll reach out, see if we can get some more guests on the show, bring in a bigger variety of expert panel. In any event, let's go with this. I'm going to start my monologue with Hillary Clinton, probably one of the most vile and hated humans to ever live. She doesn't have the track record, though, that Stalin has, or Trotsky, or Lenin, or Hitler, or Mao. But she's still quite a, she's a lightning rod for attention, good and bad. But she tried to come out today. Everyone remember, Hillary Clinton has been around in American politics since the Watergate scandal with Richard Nixon. She worked as a young lawyer for the Democrats at the Watergate scandal. And she was so unscrupulous. She was so, let's just use the word dirty and filthy, that the Democrats got rid of her and said, we don't want you here. Your ethics don't exist. In any event, Hillary Clinton is still around 50 fucking years later. And today she tried to shit on Trump over the shutdown of the federal government. And the contentious points, well, dollar store Obama, the brown bandito with a sombrero. Oh, the memes are glorious. Yeah, he wants free health care for illegals, and it's right there in their own documents. They'll lie about it. They've been lying about it, right? Anyways, Hillary comes out and tries crapping on Trump and then regrets it. Social media people like you and me bitch slapped her down with her own words from her own congressional testimony, where she said, quote, we should not give taxpayer-funded healthcare benefits to illegal aliens or encourage illegal immigration, end quote. What a lying, hypocritical crunt. Hillary Clinton. Oh, folks, the Democrats are lost. When they have to dig up the partial cadaver known as Hillary Clinton and bring her into mainstream media in the hopes, dreams, and expectations that she'll bring the energy level up for Democrat Party. I mean, she is a filthy fossil. to the 10th degree. Just a disgusting human being, in my opinion. And, prove me wrong. Anyways, the Democrat Party is in disarray. Chuck Schumer was on the Senate floor trying to sell his version of reality, and he was literally laughed at on the Senate floor, folks. Laughed at for being a fucking idiot and an ingrate. He went with Dollar Store Obama to see the president, and Trump absolutely trolled them both by putting Trump 2024 hats on the Resolute desk facing Schumer and Dollar Store Obama. I like to call him Discount Obama as well, because he is a discount Barack Obama. He is a cheap replica. Anyways, the Democrat fighting over this and the entire Democrat Party is underway. By the way, there is also a coup, a dramatic takeover that is starting to happen in the Democrat Party when they support candidates who are openly communist Islamic scum like Mandami in New York City. And Gavin, I'm going to burn my fucking state down, Newsom, you know you've got problems. Now, the coup, Pelosi. That's right, 90 proof Nancy. 90 proof Nancy Pelosi was talking to the media, and she became so enraged that her jewelry was rattling on her bones. And she snapped at a reporter because the reporter asked about AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, old horseface. The reporter asked Nancy about AOC telling Republican senators to negotiate directly with her, AOC, over the shutdown. AOC took on the mantle of leading the entire Washington Democrat Party. She's not even in the fucking Senate, right? But she wants the GOP senators to talk to her. Come directly to AOC. She'll get it done. She's a fucking bartender. She is a nitwit. She is also and should be censored for her bullshit in her district. She is a liar about where she lives and how much money she made, who she is, right? Oh, Democrats, they know no bounds. They know no limits. I mean, nobody's perfect. Huh? Yours truly included. Nobody. Man's not perfect. Jolene's not perfect. My cat is not perfect. My dogs were never, no one's perfect, but good golly. I'm not completely fucked up to the end of the earth. In any event, Nancy doesn't like dipshits like AOC acting like they're the power brokers when everyone's supposed to know it's Queen 90 proof herself. But here's the deal, folks. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, all 60 IQ of her, she wants to be the 2028 Democrat president nominee. She thinks she is the candidate. And I guess she figures, well, hell, if a smelly hooker from California can be on the Democrat ticket, why not her? Indeed, why not her? Oh, the Democrats are morons, and they expect you to be okay with it and not notice. The mainstream media thinks you and me are morons and that we should just not notice. Folks, there's a reason we need to be prepared for shit hitting the fan and getting worse. There's a reason we need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and means of self-defense. There's a reason we need to know where we live and the 10 miles around us, and we need to understand the people, the environment, the resources, transportation corridors, communications, everything. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to have an idea what's around you so you can plan about it, because these people will do anything it takes, and they'll hurt anybody they need to get the power that they desire. Now, understand this. It is not just an American issue. It is an international issue that I just brought up. Why we need to be prepared and what the bad guys are willing to do. Remember that thing called the Nord Stream pipeline that got blown up the whole system got blown up. Well, in Poland, all Polish jokes and Polak jokes aside, is that a pejorative term, Uman, to call those the Poles Polacks? I'm not calling you a Polak. I know you're German, but all when I grew up, folks, Polish jokes were the shit because I had a German family. In any event, Poland, the law enforcement authorities there have arrested a man suspected of the gas pipeline terrorism, and the guy is he's a Ukrainian man. The Polish police caught a Ukraine right, because your average Ukrainian can set explosive charges under hundreds of feet of water and do it so perfectly that they just blow the shit out of it, right? That's how it works. And Biden, President Biden, the European Union, and NATO, they had nothing to do with it, right? Right? American liquid natural gas companies, right? Yeah. Good thing all of the American liquefied natural gas companies, LNG, good thing they had millions upon tens of millions of LNG ready to sell Europe after the pipeline was blown up. But don't worry, the Poles have caught the Ukrainian man. Another patsy bites the dust. But see, the mainstream media expects you to buy that. The moral of that story is, look, it doesn't matter where you live. You could have a pipeline near you and it could be exploded. You could have a bridge near you and a ship could run into it. You can have a tunnel somewhere and it could be bombed shut. You could have all of your Piggly Wiggly shut. Who knows what the emergency is going to be? Please be prepared. Now, back to America from the glorious homeland of Poland. And I want to talk about the physician, the genius, the philosopher, this great man who is also an abject, retarded fuckhead. He is known as the Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker. That's right, J.B. Pritzker. He is accused President Trump of being inflicted with a mental disease called dementia. And he is saying the 25th Amendment needs to be invoked. He's calling for it, folks. What that is Congress looking at each other and going, this guy doesn't have his fucking marbles together. They signed a piece of paper, which is 25th Amendment, to remove him from power. And that's really not what the 25th Amendment was about. It was about taking somebody who, for example, is in a coma. If the president's in a coma, he can't make decisions for the country. So that's when you 25th Amendment them. Or if your president sniffs little girls, licks ice cream, can't find the stage, can't find the steps, can't get up the stage, can't find the podium, doesn't know what to say, and wanders in fucking circles before he falls off the stage, you might want a 25th Amendment him. That would be Biden. So anyways, yeah, I was just curious if the genius, Governor Pritzker, did he ever see Biden standing around listless, getting lost on stage, shaking hands with a ghost? Remember that shit? Using cue cards to speak, to ask questions. Does Pritzker remember anything at all about Biden? Now, I'm not trying to put, a bunch of light on Biden and ignore Trump, but Trump is not doing you like him, love him, hate him, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. I don't care. But Trump is not losing his fucking marbles. He's certainly not getting the 1,000-yard, I can't see shit because I'm losing my mind stare that Biden had. But really, philosopher, genius. Yeah, that's Pritzker, all right. Yeah, he's also a health expert. The rotund fuck is. Anyways, this is the Democrats, folks. Are you catching the theme here? Are you catching why you need to be prepared? You're catching why you need to be armed. Well, here's another example of why. At Utah State University, A bomb threat happened. Can you believe that? A bomb threat, really? They evacuated the area. Just so happens there was going to be a Turning Point USA event, right? Charlie Kirk's organization was going to have a talk between his speakers and the student body. But to stop free speech, to prohibit rational discussion of social, political, military, educational commentary, we can't have that. So the Democrats faked a bomb threat. What is that called? What is it called when you make a bomb threat? Folks, that is terrorism. Terrorism is using violence or the threat of violence to cause decisions to be made that favor your politics, that favor your agenda, that favor your religion, right? It is actual violence or the threat. And a bomb threat is a threat, and the political consequences, future Republicans, future Republican voters, or just people who want to use their own brains is being prohibited. It's stopped. That's the Democrat Party. Lie, cheat, steal, threaten, blow shit up, make shit up. Think we covered that pretty good, huh? But wait, there's more. Oh, I've got more, folks. And if you're thinking to yourself, man, John is shitting all over Democrats. No, I am not. I am not shitting on the Democrats at all. They are shitting on themselves. Remember that when people say John's rude, and they will. No, I'm not rude. I'm just pointing out what they're doing and what they're saying. And I'm weighing it against this thing called a line of decency. They are way below it on every single term. Whether talking about grooming children, putting fruitcakes in the military, spending our money on illegal aliens instead of our veterans, instead of helping our homeless. They're way below the line of morality. Way below. Well, this is interesting. So again, I'm going to go back over the ocean, over to Europe. This time I'm going to talk about Paris, France. In Paris, France, an ambassador has fallen to his death from the 22nd floor of a hotel. Now, who was this cat that took a dive? Well, he was the ambassador for South Africa. And when I saw the story, it said, it appears to be suicide. Yeah, when you jump off of the 22nd floor, you could say, yeah, it's we suspect suicide is there, but shouldn't there be a note written in his own handwriting and not Hillary's? I mean, anyone else's? You see, I can make the Hillary joke and go, was he a friend of Hillary's? Because so many of Hillary's friends have suffered strange deaths. Yeah. Well, friends, associates, political contributors, employees, people that have hung themselves and still managed to shoot themselves with a gun, people who have managed to shoot themselves in the back of the head several times. Yeah, sounds like suicide to me. In fact, she is such a prolific knower of people who committed suicide. The phrase or term Arkancide has been invented just for her. So, yeah, was Hillary in France? Or maybe, just maybe, France would like the natural resources that South Africa has. You see, South Africa has freed itself from England and freed itself from the Dutch, because those are the countries that colonized it, civilized it, brought industry and business there, mining, etc. Maybe France wanted the natural resources, and the ambassador didn't want to accept, in exchange for all those resources, a sensuous night with Brigitte Macron, Emmanuel's wife, as a payment. Really, she's a girl. They'll even bring out experts to tell you. In any event, these are the socialist types out there, folks. And yeah, isn't it funny? Isn't it interesting that those who scream racism about those they also call fascists, but all these accidents befall people who work with Democrat socialists and communists. And they call us racists, while they seem to have the biggest problem with those of other races. I tell you, folks, the Democrats are just special. They are just special. And yes, I have more back over the ocean, back to Washington, D.C., at least the great Northeast there, New England. A Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Sergeant, who is a Democrat, no doubt, was not just driving along, minding his own business. He was arrested. For what? For crashing into a federal agent's car. Now, inside this Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Sergeant's car was a machine gun, an arsenal of unregistered firearms. Well, he wasn't arrested for just that. No, he assaulted a police officer. He sexually assaulted at least one of them. He resisted arrest. And he's basically an all-around Democrat dipshit, as well as being a Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Sergeant. You know, the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police, the guys who attacked, opened fire with riot, or rather anti-riot munitions, rubber bullets, tear gas canisters, pepper balls, and then beat the living shit out of the so-called insurrectionists that were there, killing 4 people. That four Americans died, no cops died. The insurrectionists didn't kill anybody. But yeah, the insurrection, that's right. Yeah, that Nancy Pelosi orchestrated. And she is now in a lawsuit over. Oh yeah, the purpose of that story was to tell you about another Democrat who had a machine gun, unregistered weapons, who went bonkers on federal agents. Now, we've been talking about, judges for the past several months since Trump became president, have we not? I've got good news about a federal judge. That's right. A federal judge is disqualified an acting U.S. attorney for President Trump. Well, you might ask, John, how can that be good news? Trump appointed this person as the acting U.S. attorney in Nevada. Whoops. So this judge has ruled her appointment is invalid. Well, I say good. And you're saying, John, why are you happy that a federal judge has disqualified Trump's acting U.S. attorney in Las Vegas, Nevada? Well, it's because she is the shitheel that let Netanyahu's high-tech assistant, right, his cyber super dude, well, she let him flee out of America back to Israel after he was arrested for trying to ensnare children with the purpose of having sex with them, aka rape, in Las Vegas. So I say good. Good. Take that bitch's black dress, take her little wooden hammer, and kick her out of the judiciary. I have no use for someone who lets an international criminal who was here in America to rape children run away. Oh boy, I tell you folks, the fucking Democrats, you know what? The Democrats. Well, shit, I'm going to keep going. Fuck it. Let's have some more fun. Get your questions down below on this wacky Wednesday, because indeed, this is wacky. Or is today Thursday? Is today Thursday or Wednesday, man? It is Wednesday. And so I got to pull Jolene's thing. For the title of the video, she put Thursday on it, man. We have to give her a hard time. Whoops. Obviously, we are all working very hard to just keep our heads above water. I got something. This is incredible. The hypocrisy of the Democrats is exposed once again. Even Democrat socialist Bill Maher, he's brought up a topic and said 100,000 Christians have been murdered. Where's the outrage? Right? First, we have to ask, where are they being murdered? Yeah. Israel, Gaza, Syria, Lebanon. Right. Well, who is murdering them? Well, we know that that it's Islamists, and the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, is shooting high explosive artillery rounds into Christian churches. That was happening too. But who has created this lack of policing so that all these countries seem to have a problem with Christians being killed, Christians being kidnapped, Christian girls being raped and taken as sex slaves? What is the situation that was created to cause this to happen? Well, all of the Muslim and Israeli fighting in Africa and the Middle East is what's caused this. So it's interesting that Democrat socialist Bill Maher has exposed all of the hypocrisy, not just of the Democrats, but of the Republicans in Washington, D.C., because nobody is talking about the 100,000 Christians who have been murdered. Everyone who's screaming and yelling about Israel and all the Palestinians that have been murdered. What are they up to now? 500,000, new man? I don't know what the number is they're throwing out there. But 100,000 Christians have been murdered, says Bill Maher. Yeah, seems a little lopsided, right? Anytime an Israeli gets a splinter, they scream that it's anti-Semitic action by somebody. And every time we turn around, the Palestinians are either faking their own death on camera or actually getting blown up by the IDF. And they're screaming, but no one is running to the defense of the Christians. Nobody at all. It just seems a little too convenient. It just seems that way, does it not? Have you guys been catching all of the Hakeem Jeffries, dollar store Obama, discount Obama? They're out there and they're fucking hilarious. I can't help it. They're just fucking hilarious. All the screams of racist, it's racist, right? But Trump doubled down. He's been roasting Hakeem, dollar store Obama, again and again and again, because he had a meltdown over the artificial intelligence videos. And when that happened, everyone else decided they would start making him too. And yeah, the Democrats are screaming racism, but it has about the same effect as the Israelis screaming anti-Semitism and the Muslims screaming Islamophobia. Doesn't work anymore because it was never true to begin with. We just want America first. That's all. It's not too much to ask for, is it? Our own country keeping its own money to help its own people? Yeah. All right. Well, Uman says all the libtards are community noting the videos with, this is AI. Of course it is. We really know that Hakeem Jeffries, dollar store Obama, and he hates that, by the way, so be sure and say dollar store Obama. We all know it's a joke. But they literally put a label across the middle of the screen in red. AI generated. The one with 4 Trumps as the mariachi band playing behind dollar store Obama. I'm pretty sure people figured out there's not 4 Trumps. Anyways, the Democrats are liars. They're hypocrites. They're morons. But the government shutdown will not stop Democrats from planning and executing and going to their luxury retreat at a posh resort in the California wine country, Sonoma, Napa, all that shit, Well, Democrats really don't give a shit about you and me, folks, obviously. They don't really give a shit about their own people in the Democrat Party, and they certainly don't really give a shit about all of the illegals. All this is about, my friends, it's about money and wealth for themselves and power over other people. And they need the votes. They need more votes. All right, folks, let's do this. Let's go to the inner circle where your questions come up next. Ooh, that was a great half an hour. And Uman says we got some great comments and questions. Let's do it, amigo. Who's up first? And it's Mikey G. He gets the call. And he says, it feels like the Twilight Zone more every day. And Congress will miraculously pass a continuing omnibus resolution that only puts us another couple trillion in the hole. You say 2 trillion. We need to have a way to do a poll, Uman. Not a poll. Well, I guess you could call it a poll, or maybe some kind of betting club. I'm sure we would get in trouble, for illegal gambling. We need to do one of those things where people decide, is it going to be 1 trillion, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, all the way up to 5 trillion. How much more money are they going to throw at everything? Well, you see, Mr. Art of the Deal, President Trump, basically he's told up Chuck Schumer and discount dollar store Obama that he's not going to give them what they want. The taxpayers shouldn't be funding transgender surgeries. The American taxpayer shouldn't be funding free medical, free education, free housing, free food, free clothes, free transportation, free anything for these fucking illegals. They're illegals. That makes them criminals. Because when you commit a crime, it makes you a criminal. Right, Jasmine Eyelashes Crockett? So, what does Trump want? Well, he wants them to drop all their shit and give him everything he wants, and he'll do that. Folks, did you know that in the country of Spain, they had their government shut down for months? And you know what? A miracle happened. With the government shut down, you know what happened? The country didn't go down, but the unemployment rate did. That's right. With government out of the way, not passing more laws, more rules, more regulations, more taxes, more restrictions, with the government stopped, Spain actually started to fucking flourish. How interesting is that? All right. Before we go to the next thing, by the way, has everyone been paying attention to what's going on in precious metals that we've been talking about since, 2016? Yeah, just in the last couple months, gold has gone up about $400 an ounce. It's been bouncing off of 3,900. 9,900. Back in 2016, gold was down around 1,500. It's more than doubled. But in just the last 2 years, it's actually doubled. It went up pretty quick, and it's doubled. Silver, it's crazy. It is now, would you look at that, October 1st. We've started the fourth quarter of the year, and last quarter, which ended yesterday, silver closed at an all-time quarterly high. Yes, at one point it poked $50. No, 2 times it poked $50, but it's never closed as high as it is. It was well over $1 today, and when I came to the show, silver dropped back below, $1, but basically it had a 2% day. And it's been having 2% gains every day. And a lot of people are saying, this is awful. The United States dollar is going down in value. Well, if gold has doubled in the last 2 years, has inflation gone up 100% in the last 2 years? No, it hasn't. We've had a lot of inflation, yes, but not 100% inflation. So, what is the problem? There's the current prices. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Silver and gold, respectively. What does it mean? It doesn't mean the dollar is weaker. The dollar is inflation's out of control. What it means is people don't trust government. And so they're putting their money in safety, in gold and silver. That's what it means. Right? Gold can go to 10,000. It doesn't mean the dollar is any worse off than it was the day before. Gold could go to $100,000. It doesn't mean we have 1,000 times or 100,000 times percent inflation. It doesn't mean that. All it means is gold has gone up in value, is being recognized for something other than being a shiny pet rock. But it's more of an indictment of U.S. government and monetary policy. It means people don't like what's being done. They don't trust what's going on, and they're putting their money in a safe place. Gold as the ultimate safe haven, and it's also being remonetized to the extent that it is backing trade agreements. So countries can do trade instead of using the US dollar. They're saying we'll settle our debts with gold because everybody knows gold is good. And once you get the gold, the United States government can't just freeze your bank account. So it's more of a trust issue rather than a valuation against the dollar. Yes, the dollar is weakening. Yes, the dollar doesn't buy as much because of inflation, but gold could go to $1 million and it wouldn't mean the United States is trashed. It wouldn't mean a package of hamburgers or hot dogs or potato chips or a 12-pack of, well, Coors. It doesn't mean that that's going to go up times 1,000. It just means gold is going up because of trust. And based on the recent activity, the trust is going down. Trust in what's being done. A lot of fear, and the banks are buying the gold, by the way. It's 99% of it is going to banks so that they can settle debts in their countries. That's all. In any event, trust. Woo! So Robin G is back. Good to hear from you, Robin. She says we're never getting out of debt, leaving it all to the future generations. Joke's on them. Who knows? Maybe all of us real Americans will be gone to better places by then. Well, this is something I've always disagreed with, Robin. The government going into debt and saying, we'll pay it back later. But things will be better later, I promise, right? That kind of crap. That's what they've done. The politicians, the boomer politicians, and now the Gen X politicians, and oh yeah, the millennial politicians. But who are the millennial politicians who want to hate us Gen Xers and hate the boomers? And oh yeah, the Gen Z and millennials and all these fuckheads too. They're going to blame the boomers. But who are the communists in government now? Yeah, the millennials. So the Democrat boomers were Democrats. Then the Gen Xers, Democrats, are actually socialist communists. And now we have just in-your-face, hardcore communist fucks in the Democrat Party. Absolute. Oh, by the way. Anyways, Robin, I didn't mean to stray so far from your topic. Lying Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, the wannabe Indian who has like 0.05% Native American blood in her, but she used her lie to get her through college and positions of power and authority. Surprise, not surprised. Anyways, apparently she is committed some serious crimes. They might be able to just kick her dumb ass right out of Congress, right out of the Senate, no less. They can expel her for what she's done. You know what I want to see? I want to see some fucking criminal charges is what I want to see. We have one indictment against James Comey that's going to take at least 10 fucking years to litigate. And that's it. For everyone who thought, oh my God, the dominoes are falling. They got James Comey indicted. Well, it's the 1st of October. He doesn't even have to show up at court or a government building until the 9th. He's probably out moving money around, making some good investments with Nancy Pelosi, going to move his money down to the Caymans or Bahamas or some place that's a safe jurisdiction. move the money around 4 or 5 times through some shell corporations to hide it, and never go to jail anyways. Yeah, we're going to all die eventually, but we need to fix the problem. I think that the government should open up an investigation into the Federal Reserve, which it can do. Find out that they've been cooking the books, lying, cheating, stealing, printing money for themselves. Hell, they got the machine. Why doesn't it make themselves rich? And they have. Find that they have committed egregious fraud and abject, absolute failure in doing what they're supposed to do, and just say, you know what? Fuck you, Federal Reserve. We don't owe you anything. The national debt is hereby expunged. Now, that wouldn't solve the problem of U.S. government liabilities, unfunded liabilities like Social Security, Medicaid, or is it Medicare? Pensions, retirement, other benefits that the government has promised. But they could get rid of that $37 trillion they owe the Federal Reserve because it's a criminal organization. What do you mean, John? It's called the Federal Reserve, man. They do business with the government, right? Well, let me ask you this question, folks. If I sat on this computer right here, tappity tap, 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 and all of a sudden my bank account has $1 trillion in it, how long do you think it would take for the Secret Service to come banging down the hatch on the Prepared Mind bunker and arresting my dumbass for counterfeiting and fraud and racketeering and everything else? Right, but they do it every day and they get away with it, and they have for decades. All right, let's have some more fun. Ooman, who's up next? I had to go down that road. Couldn't leave it behind, and it's Ooman. And Ooman says, funny how the news, the mainstream media, is crying about the 750 furloughs and everything grinding to a halt. I didn't notice anything different today. Did you? No, Mr. Ooman, I did not. First, 100,000 or nearly 100,000 federal workers went on strike, resigned, quit. I didn't feel a bump. I didn't lose a wink of sleep. And now today, there's 750,000 government workers who are laid off. And the Democrats are calling it Armageddon, the end of the world as we know it. It's just horrible. It's a crisis. You know what made me fucking sick? Was the federal workers holding signs that say, we are heroes. A hero never has to tell everyone else they're a hero because everyone knows. But federal workers are heroes? You mean sitting in a desk and playing Tetris or Minecraft all day, or looking at porn, or trying to groom children from your federal job? That makes you a fucking hero? Taking a piece of paper, stamping it, putting it in this box makes you a hero? They're out saving lives. They're ridding the world of evil from their desks in Washington, D.C. Fucking bullshit. Now, the funny thing is, and the funny not so funny thing is when they all go back to work, or when most of them go back to work, guess what? They will get back pay. Guess what? They're not going to have their benefits cut. They have the best benefit package, the best health care, the best everything. They make twice the money of the average American. When you add in all of their medical and dental and retirement and vacation. Remember how half these fucking workers didn't even come to work? They're working from home, supposedly. But the hand-wringing, the pearl-clutching Democrats, oh my God. Oh, I didn't notice at all. As I noted this morning when I did Zero Dark 30, wow, the asphalt is still on the road. The sidewalks are still made out of concrete. The lights are still working on the street lights. The stoplights are still working. Traffic is going down the correct sides of the road as we drive. There was no chaos, bedlam. There was nothing like that, right? There's no problems. And once again, Spain, after I think 8 months, their unemployment actually started to drop. The country started to prosper. How interesting. Yes. All right, Mr. Uman, let us continue. I know we've got more to discuss, and now we are up to who's next? Robin G's back again. She says, my daughter's out in Norfolk, Virginia. Got sent home at noon today for the shutdown. This shouldn't last long. Maybe. I don't expect it to last long. I really don't. A lot of people are rooting for it to last longer, and the reason is, right, the hope that government will do something right. It's funny, you know who they sent home today? Mostly, they furloughed the non-essential workers. Do you know one single fucking business, one private sector business, where they have an entire room full of non-essentials? No, because when you have non-essential employees, in other words, you don't have work for them to do that's productive, that is required, you lay them off, you fire them. So why does the government need to hire hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who aren't really essential? Now, your daughter, Robin, I'm sure is essential because she's in Norfolk. I'm guessing somehow involved in the Navy world, maybe shipbuilding or something like that. In any event, the shutdown I don't think will last long, and I do expect everyone to be brought back with back pay. So just consider it a vacation. This is a political move. This is not a fiscal stripping of the federal government. No one is going to strip the federal government of all of its spending. They're going to continue to spend and overspend in an effort to stimulate the economy. Uman says, to be fair, their definition of non-essential is not public safety related. Yes, but the term non-essential is an insult. It's an insult to the taxpayer. To say, we've got all these non-essential, well, yeah. But yeah, not security related. So the military, police, the FBI, this bullshit about the military not, shutting down their social media, shoom, 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 is an indictment of the Department of Defense. In my opinion, it shows that Trump, like many of his other agencies, is not 100% in control. We know that Pete Hegseth hasn't been because he's continually having to fire people because they will not follow orders. They aren't showing proper decorum and respect for their superior officers and civilian control. And so they're being fired. And now we have in all branches of service except the United States Marine Corps, all branches of the service said, wow, our social media is shut down for the time being. Everyone's at work. They didn't say, there's a government shutdown and the Navy returns. The Marine Corps comes back. The Army comes back. The Air Force comes back from around the world. They shut down all the bases. No, that's not how it works. And because you've got Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, they need their barracks. They need their food, their chow hall. They need food delivered. They need everything. And so those are essential workers. They're not going to starve our servicemen and women. It's some incredible, stupid shit out there, folks. But don't worry about it, Robin. I'm sure she'll be back at work. My family members who work for the federal government, well, the ones that work for the Bureau of Prisons, so I think the BOPs, they're not going to shut the prisons down, send the prison guards home, and send the prisoners back to their home out in public. And, okay, when we open the government, you guys come back to prison. We'll take care of you again. Yeah, nothing to worry about. It's just a political game. It is kabuki theater to help, how do we say this, Mr. Uman? To help continue the mirage of Potemkin City, to make everything look like it's just fine, right? America's great and strong and powerful. They need everyone to believe that, and that politics matters, and that the people in Washington are really the ones in control, when it's become quite obvious that billionaires pull their fucking strings. Right? You see Trump kissing the ass of the CEO of Pfizer, kissing his ass, talking about what a great job he did. 20 million people have been killed by the Jim Jones juice. And he's praising this fucking clown who lied to America and lied to the world. It is Potemkin Kabuki Theater. All righty, Mr. Uman, who's next? Hey, it's Heidi, who says, the hospitals in California depend on the freebies to stay open. Now they're in trouble and the emergency rooms will be full. Well, the hospitals in California depend on the freebies to stay open. You see, illegals and Americans can all go to the hospital, the emergency room. And the hospitals are required by law to treat anyone who comes in. And what they do is they turn around and they give that money or give that bill to the federal government, who in turn pays them. So yeah, hospitals in California and indeed around the country, they get a lot of money from illegals. Guess why? Go ahead and guess why. Redneck Roughneck says the demon rats screwed us over with Obamacare, yet now they want us to believe they know what's best for our health care. Imagine that. Yeah, they screwed us over with Obamacare. My medical at that time went from costing for the entire family $500 to over $500 just for me in a matter of 3 years. And it's continued to go up. They want us to believe they know what's best for us and that they're actually going to take care of us. Yeah, so illegals go in and they do what? They get all the treatments you can imagine and the government pays top dollar. Now you go in with your health care and they want to run everything. They want to run every test, every procedure, jab you with everything, give you every medication possible, every surgery if possible, and, well, applicable or partially applicable. They want to do that and then negotiate with the insurance company and make all they can. If you want the best healthcare, go in with a checkbook and pay in cash. Say, I don't have insurance, but I'll pay in cash. In any event, they make a shit pile of money off the illegals because they don't have to negotiate. They don't have to negotiate with the insurance company who tries to knock them down on price. It's incredible how much you'll pay for healthcare insurance and how little you'll get for it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, let's continue. What do we want to talk about next? It's not a bot. Lynn checking in. Welcome back to the show. And he writes, how did it happen that corporate lobbyists politicians allowed to dictate what they spend our money on, and we let them? We don't let them. I don't let them. You don't let them. We don't let them. Our only control, our only restraint, our only shock collar is the election process. That's it. Corporations have been, well, we tried stopping them. The corporations sued and went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said corporations have a right to lobby and pay, I almost said bribes. Whoops. Contribute to political campaigns. That they are, under statute, persons. They're persons. I am not a person, because a person is a corporation, is a fictitious character. In any event, yeah, the Supreme Court has agreed that they can do that they can lobby, that they can contribute to political candidates. So you and I are second class. Second class. That's how it happened. You asked, how did it happen? That's how it happened. You can't stop them. All we can do is vote them out and then vote in someone else who is equally willing to take corporate money and say, I need that money for my campaigns so I can be a good Republican and vote, I don't know, 2/3 to 3/4 of the time in your favor, but the other quarter of the time is very questionable and just might benefit other foreign nations. Ah, yes. Yeah, they don't do a whole lot of shit for us, do they? They take money from corporations, from lawyers, and everything is done to benefit themselves. We didn't let them. They do it whether we like it or not. And every time we have an election and we think we're going to fix it, either nothing changes or it actually gets fucking worse. It gets worse. Yeah. What a world, folks. This always ends badly, folks. And I'm not talking about for this political session of Trump or the decade, even the century, the American empire, if you will. Every empire for millennia, thousands of years, goes through the same cycle. The same cycle. Strong and powerful people are prosperous, and they, well, do it through either production or war or a combination of both. And they become very powerful empires like the Persian Empire, the Roman Empire, the British Empire, the Spanish Empire, the Chinese Empire, right? And then what happens? They become corrupt. They abuse their own people. They become greedy. They become destructive and satanic even. And then it fails and goes downhill. The American empire, if you will, is in its dying phases, but that doesn't mean you have to die. You can have what's known as a revolution. And that's what the election process was supposed to be. Electing government officials to replace the bad ones so we don't have to have a revolt. So we don't have to have bloodshed. So we don't have to have the people absolutely, totally, 100% fucked over. But we've had our elections and we're continuing to be bled dry and fucked over. And here we are. Mr. Uman, have we got another one? We've got just a couple minutes left, and Uman is following up. Beef prices are at a record high. 12.8% increase over last year because of a drought, leaving inventory at lowest levels in 70 years, plus strong demand resulting in big price increases for beef. Well, I thought we were getting our beef from other countries. So how can a drought in America affect our beef prices? Yeah, we've got other problems. But yeah, I mean, everything contributes. Everything contributes to this. But the dollar itself is failing and is inflationary. The government is printing and continuing to print, folks, even though they don't call it quantitative easing. They certainly don't want to call it helicopter money. They don't want to tell us that they're buying their own debt. But money is being printed and thrown about, right? And as we know, Robin, everyone, they're going to come to an agreement and pass some sort of continuing resolution, omnibus spending bill, and fuck us all over and increase spending even more, which means they have to print money, which means we're drowning in dollars, which causes inflation. You know what's amazing? I went to the store the other day and I looked at the prices of beef. I've told you that beef prices in Florida, ground beef is anywhere from $6.50 to $12 a pound. That's a pretty wide gap, I know. I looked at some ribeye steaks, $26 a pound. You know what I found for $24 a pound? Filet mignon. Filet mignon was $24, and right next to it, I was like, you're kidding me. Filet is less expensive than ribeyes, and I love ribeye steaks. But ribeye steaks are half fucking fat, which is why they taste so juicy and delicious. But shit, I can't afford either. Fuck. I mean, ground beef used to be cheap. Now it's not. Now it costs what steaks used to fucking cost just a few years ago when I was in California. In any event, thank you for bringing that up. Uman makes me hungry and pissed off all at the same time. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, your plan. The point of all of this discussion is to let you know you need to get prepared because things are going to get a lot worse. A lot worse. Godspeed, God bless America, and Semper Fi.